Imagine being threatened with death simply for refusing to kneel before a statue. Imagine seeing a blazing furnace lit before your eyes, knowing that if you don't comply, you'll be thrown into it alive. This isn't just a dramatic scene. It's the real story of 3 young Hebrews who defied the most powerful man of their time, all because of their faithfulness to God. Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego faced the fury of King Nebuchadnezzar, the ruler of Babylon, and chose faith over fear. In this video, you'll discover the powerful details of the story. Understand why they didn't bow, what happened inside the furnace, and how this story continues to inspire millions around the world today. Get ready, because what you're about to hear is more than a biblical account. It's a real lesson in courage, unshakable faith. It's in the supernatural power of God acting on behalf of those who obey Him, even in the face of death. It all begins with a royal decree. Nebuchadnezzar builds a gigantic statue nearly 30 meters tall, covered in gold, a symbol of his glory and absolute authority. Then he commands that all the leaders and people of the empire must kneel and worship the image as soon as they hear the sound of the instruments. Anyone who refuses will be thrown immediately into a blazing furnace. In the middle of a crowd bowing before the statue, 3 young men remain standing: Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, exiled Jews and servants of the Most High God. They knew what was at stake. They knew their lives were hanging by a thread. But to them, worshiping another god or image was unthinkable. It would be a betrayal of their commitment to the Lord. When the accusers report them to the king, Nebuchadnezzar furiously summons the 3. He gives them one last chance to bow, but what they respond is breathtaking. They say something extraordinary to the king. Without any fear, they declare that they don't need to defend themselves. They say that the God they serve is able to deliver them from the furnace. But even if He doesn't, they still won't bow to the image. That is pure faith. Faith that doesn't negotiate. Faith that doesn't need guarantees. They were ready to die, but would never betray their covenant with God. Nebuchadnezzar then commands that the furnace be heated 7 times hotter than usual, and orders his strongest soldiers to tie the 3 men and throw them into the flames. The heat is so intense that the soldiers themselves are consumed by the fire. It seemed like the end. But it's right at this moment of highest tension that the miracle happens. What Nebuchadnezzar sees next leaves him completely stunned and changes the course of the entire story. The king looks into the furnace and sees something he cannot explain. Instead of 3 men burning, he sees 4 men walking freely in the fire, completely unharmed. The 4th figure has a supernatural appearance, like a divine being. Some say it was an angel sent by God. Others believe it was the very Son of God, appearing before His birth on earth. What matters is that God was there. In the midst of the fire, God not only delivered the 3 young men, but made it clear to the world that no one touches His children unless He allows it. Nebuchadnezzar, astonished, approaches the furnace and calls for Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego to come out. They walk out alive, untouched. Not even the smell of smoke was on their clothes. A visible miracle, testimony that no one could deny of God's power after that. King Nebuchadnezzar had no choice but to recognize the greatness of the God of those 3 young men. He issued a new decree forbidding anyone from speaking against the God of Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. And he promoted the 3 to even higher positions in Babylon. What an irony. The same king who wanted to destroy them for not bowing now honors their faith before the entire nation. This story is not just about deliverance. It's about taking a stand. It's about having the courage to remain standing when everyone else is kneeling. It's about trusting God even when the worst-case scenario seems inevitable. Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego teach us that faithfulness is not negotiable, and that God always honors those who choose to obey Him above all else, even if it costs them everything. Now stop and think. How many times have you felt like you were inside a furnace? Moments when the pressure is so great it feels like you can't take it anymore. Situations where everything around you is against you, and the only thing you have left is your faith. The story of these 3 young men reminds us that God does not abandon us in the fire. He steps in with us. He walks with us through the flames. When He chooses to act, not even the fiercest fire can touch us. This biblical story has transcended centuries because it carries an eternal truth. God is faithful. He doesn't just watch from a distance. He intervenes. He reveals Himself. And when you choose to trust Him with all your heart, you are never alone, even when everything seems lost. May this story strengthen your faith and inspire you to stand firm no matter what comes your way. If this video touched your heart, share it with someone who is going through a difficult time. Maybe this message is the comfort and hope that person needs to hear today. And if you want more Bible stories narrated with depth and faith, subscribe to the channel, turn on notifications, and leave a comment telling us which biblical character you would like to see in the next video. Until next time, and may God bless you with the same courage He gave to Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego.